So you are about to see a demonstration of a Kimmy Cantrell inspired clay slab portrait. It will definitely be abstract like his were, and it's going to be pretty fun because we've got some cool sneaky little tricks to make our designs turn out. Well, here are those sneaky little tricks. As I told you the other day, we have some random fabrics, and those fabrics have some cool patterns and textures. And when we press our clay, which will be soft, into those, they'll make designs. Not only do we have those patterns from the fabric, but we also have boxes of junk. And inside those boxes of junk, you can use them to do all kinds of things. This piece of fabric is really important. It stops the clay from sticking to the table. So double, triple check, make sure you have one of those, along with all of the other patterns. This little doohickey here we're going to use later, and I'll tell you more about it. Simple pencil also is one of my very favorite tools, so you might find yourself using one of those. Okay, getting started. First thing I'm doing here is making a ball. I have to curve my hands, both of them, the top and the bottom, and then I hit the clay. So I'm hitting it, and it's creating a ball shape or form. You can also use this old trick where you just roll the clay on the table or roll it between your two hands. But we want to get it into a ball shape first before we create that slab. I'm going to use a piece of fabric and my ball to now start to add the textures. So again, slab means kind of flat like a pancake. So I know I'm going to be hitting it. I put my canvas down first to make it not get stuck to the table. And then I'm going to put some fabric with a texture on top of that. So there's 2 layers. There's no way they should be getting stuck to the table. Do not forget your 2 layers. All right, now the fun part. It's going to get loud, everybody. I'm taking a flat hand, and whoa. Hi, the world just rocked. Okay, I figured this out now. I'm picking up the camera. Take a flat hand and pound the clay, basically. This is what you're hoping I'd say, probably. You want to make sure it's even, though. We don't want it to be like super thin on half of it and then really thick on the other half. So think of it kind of like a cookie. When you're ready to peel up the clay, it should just peel up kind of like a sticker. And there is that texture. So cool. All of those lines and designs showed up with very minimal effort. Now you have your second piece of clay. So again, get it into a ball. And maybe pick the same texture, maybe pick a different piece of fabric. So I'm going to go with this lace. This looks really cool. And picking the spot in here, because there's a lot of different patterns and designs. So I like this area. I'm going to set my ball down, flatten my hand, and start hitting it. Whoa. At this point, too, I think if I remember correctly, my bracelet kind of got stuck into it, so I had to smooth that out again. Oh my gosh, peel that up. That is the coolest pattern. I actually changed my mind when I saw that. I was going to use the first slab for my face, and then when I saw that circle pattern in where the center of that flower was, I'm actually going to use that now for the face. So thickness of about a pencil, kind of like a cookie. Decide which one you're using for the head. If you want to cut that, you can, but I'm going to leave it as a circle and then just build the parts of my face out of my other slab. So started off using a pencil tool. I also like this little plastic tool. Anything that will cut the clay will work. It's pretty smooth cut. I was thinking about a nose shape first, kind of thinking about Kimmy Cantrell's designs, and just made it kind of long and thin. Every time I cut off a piece of clay, whether it's just a teeny little bit, I put it off to the side. Oh, see, that eyeball is so cool. That was a total accident, and I'm going with it. I want to make sure that I've smoothed out any of my pieces. So every edge, whether it's around the whole slab or whether it's around any little piece, you want to take care of just kind of smoothing it with your fingertip. The clay feels really soft now, but as it dries, it gets really hard. And especially after it goes in the kiln, it'll actually feel kind of pokey if you don't smooth it out. And it's a hard thing for me to describe to you, but just believe me, it's really important to do. Now you can see I've added a little kind of mini tiny slab. I rolled up a little circle and I smashed it between my fingers, and I'm going to use that for the eye. And again, I just keep kind of tucking out my little pieces of clay, little crumbs, pushing them off to the side. Maybe I'll actually use them, maybe I won't, we'll see. Now I'm cutting another piece, trying to figure out what kind of a shape I want for my mouth. It looks okay. Maybe I could bend it. I can always trim it. The nice thing about this clay is it's soft at this point, so we can do all kinds of stuff with it. The texture is sometimes will get rubbed away, so you might have to kind of re-press it into a new fabric or the same fabric, your choice. And then sometimes it's okay to have smooth parts on your project. Not everything has to be textured, but it sure is cool, and because it's so easy to do. So I'm kind of blocking the view there with my fingers, but I'm just smoothing it and getting it into the shape that I want. Once I decide that I like it and I want to keep adding a few more details, I just keep adding them. So I'm using still from my first slab, pulling off some pieces, rolling them into a ball, smashing it again. I decided I wanted 2 layers on that eye. I figured it would make something more interesting. Plus, when I smashed them down, they weren't sticking up that far. So we can't make our slabs too thick. We can't have it build up so high, but 2 small layers should work. I think that should be okay. Again, still kind of looking around, trying to see if there's any tools in the boxes that might make something interesting. Try pressing another texture. It's going to be tough to keep that texture when I actually start to secure everything together, but it's worth a try. Definitely worth a try. So that next step is kind of like Velcro. So when I'm trying to stick them together, think of it in terms of Velcro. So we actually have to kind of scratch or rough up the back of the piece and then the front of the face, the slab part. When the clay dries, it doesn't stay as sticky. And I think you can imagine that if you just think about it. So the dry clay piece I just showed you, everything was, it's called score and slip, which is just another way of kind of creating Velcro. Everything was done so that it still stays together. So the toothbrush is a great tool for this. You can also just use anything else that can scratch the clay. But what I'm going to do is pick up the piece. So I'm starting with the nose, and I'm just kind of scratching at the back with the toothbrush. Kind of random. If you don't want to use the toothbrush, again, or someone else is using it, just pick up a tool and just draw some kind of crisscross overlapping lines. And that's enough. Think of it, the Velcro, how it's kind of rough. So then I put some texture also where the nose is going to be. Get a little bit of water. We don't want them extra slimy. We don't want puddles of water on our clay. Just a little bit to get it wet. And then gently press those 2 pieces together. So the nose piece, I'm pressing it into the face where I wanted it. Both of those were kind of roughed up, scored and slip. And I want them to stay. I want them to stay together. When it starts to dry, if things are falling off, I might not know if it's your piece, your neighbor's piece. I won't know how to help you keep everything. So every single thing that is attached to your clay slab has to have this technique. Score and slip. Think of it like Velcro. So everything, including just those little circles that I made for the eyeballs, I have to scratch the backs of those up. In this part, you can see I'm adding some more texture and designs to the nose. Kind of cool. Once I put it down, I lost some of the original texture, so I designed it, which is also super fun to do. All right, back to score and slip. Velcro. Toothbrush, scratch it up. Scratch it up with a tool if the toothbrush isn't working. Tiny amount of water, just enough. Tap it gently, and those pieces should stay. But if you forget this step, I won't know it until the pieces just start falling off when they're dry. You won't know it until the pieces start falling off when I give them back to you. And you're going to go, where's my whole nose? Well, it's gone. I don't know. So every single thing, this is the part that takes a while. It's so fun to design the clay, but if you forget these important construction steps, our design won't actually show up because it will just fall apart. Score and slip, a little bit of water. Scoring is the scratching part. I guess I should tell you that. Slip is what they call kind of like clay water. They just call it slip. Makes sense because it gets a little slippery. And now those pieces are put together. I'm looking for something else just to do some decorations on it. And I find a random little stamp. I think it was the letter J, but I'm using it just for designs. So if you have time, and I'll keep watching that clock and kind of yelling out how much time you have left, because I don't want you to run out of time for this part, because this is super fun, the design part. Last step, smoothing my edges, grabbing a pencil, and I could do this for you or you could do it yourself. Write your name on the back. Just carve it right in with a pencil. I'm thinking I want to hang this up maybe, so I'm considering where I want to poke a hole all the way through. I went just right through the middle, and make sure you go all the way through. I've done this project in the past, and then the kids think they have the hole plugged in, but then the clay just closes back up when they set it down. They didn't even realize it was happening. So poke it all the way through.